Good afternoon, Jeff. Welcome to the Impact Revolution channel. Thank you so much for your time. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward for this interview. How this works, Jeff, is that sometimes before we start to the business questions that we are looking forward to know more from your business and from your experience, we ask to the interviews a couple of personal questions, if that's okay with you. Yes?
Sure. Do I have to tell the truth?
Up to you, up to you. That's up to you. Yeah. All
I'll
right,
tell the
great.
truth.
Thank you so much. So the first question will be, if I ask you, someone who admires you really well and who knows you really well, how will define who is Jeffrey?
Uh, that's a good question. You struggle with your ego on something like that,
That's right.
but I
That's
guess
right.
that's, I think what they would say is that I'm someone who genuinely cares for people,
Okay.
uh, and that I spend a lot of time trying to help people I admire and respect,
All
which
right.
is entrepreneurs and small business people. And you
Great.
can depend
Great.
on me. I'm a good guy.
All right, thank you so much. So that's why you are perfect for us then.
That's it.
Thank you so much, for making time for us and sharing your wisdom, really. Now, the next question, Jeff, will be if I ask you what was the happiest moment of your life, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Ooh, my life. Wow. I have kids, I have grandkids, so that's right up there. But I also got married to just a magnificent woman this last February, and
Congratulations on that.
yeah, I think that this is the happiest moment of my life that I'm in now. Right, I'm
All right.
66. I'm 66 years old, and probably the last year, certainly the last 6 months, has been the happiest moments. But uh, yeah, anything involving my grandkids is right up there. So I'm blessed. So I have more than one.
All right. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much for that. And now we're going to the business more or life experience or business experience lessons learned, Jeff. All right. So thank you for sharing this. And wanted to know if there was something happening tomorrow, for instance, that you this is a bit dramatic, okay? But anyway, it's how I ask it. If you were to die tomorrow, Jeff, all right, what will be the last message that you will leave to the world?
Love yourself so you can love others.
Okay, I like that. Why?
Because so many of us are so hard on ourselves unnecessarily, and the pain of that steals our ability to give the love that we have to the world, and
Mm,
the world needs it.
uh, very good. I love that, and I share that thought as well, Jeff. And I was wondering, in your experience, right? You're a coach. You do these leadership trainings, and you know a lot about mindset and emotional intelligence. What do you think is the reason or the main reason behind all that?
I think. All right, so you're asking me to go deep right off the bat, so I'll go there. I'll go there. I believe when we come into this life and
Mm-hmm.
we take a body. I call it my earth suit. Right, this is my earth suit. I'm not a body. I'm a spiritual being who has a body.
Okay.
When we come in, we are all that love.
Yes.
We have no self doubt. We have no self criticism. We don't give any of that out. We are a pure spiritual being when we come in with a very, very high level of consciousness. And uh, over the years, we get socialized. This is a pretty rough planet right here. It's this is a warring planet on many ways. There's a lot of beautiful things that happen in it, but it's a tough school. And that starts to be removed from us or oppressed in us. And we start to realize that how we think of ourselves is less, we start to think that how we think of ourselves is less important and less accurate than how other people think of us. We have to make sure, as little babies, we're completely dependent upon our parents. So approval, disapproval from them, because that equals our survival. You get a little bit older, your siblings, approval, disapproval, school, approval, disapproval. So that social indoctrination starts to shift that balance from that pure love to, which is, let's call that soul consciousness, to human consciousness. And when we come in, we don't come in with an ego. The ego is built. The ego is part of our brain that's built. And the ego is its own story. And we even forget that we are this higher self. And we think we're our thoughts, and we think we're our actions when we're not. That's what we do. That's not who we are. Who we are is an incredibly powerful spiritual being. And all spiritual paths and journeys, regardless of what flavor you choose, all have one thing in common, and that is they're looking to connect the ego mind back to our true source, who we are. And Joseph Campbell, he talked about the hero's journey, and the hero's journey is all about people coming down and they start, like the Wizard of Oz starts in a life of innocence. She's in Kansas. Big tornado comes, takes her to a whole other place, Earth. Starts running into all these different types of challenges and a wicked witch and lions and tigers and bears and the flying monkeys and whoa, what is all this type of stuff? And so they get lost. We get lost in this world. And then what each of these challenges, we don't know how we're going to get through them. Eventually, we realize that the way we get through them, we had the answer all the time. It was by being true to ourselves. So the hero's journey is into the world and coming back. And then when you come back and you get in touch with your spiritual being, you still can function in this other world, but you're not functioning in the same way. You're an improved version. You're a hybrid. We come in pure, we get lost. The lucky ones come back, reconnect, and integrate.
And your job, our job, my job as well, I consider, is to find or support people or facilitate people to find this true self, right? And to have this more authentic life and the full essence and expression of their selves, right? How or what is the most effective way that you have found so far, Jeff?
Well, I can only speak for myself. And when I was younger, I had no spiritual connection. I didn't want anything to do with any religions. I was Christian, Protestant, kind of raised lightly. It wasn't pushed on me. And then in my senior year in high school, actually, I entered into a comparative religion class. And through that, studied Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Sikhism, Christianity, and a bunch of others. And I found Taoism, and I liked the energy of Taoism. And so I studied that for quite a bit. I've studied Native American cultures. I have a lot of respect for them. And also I've been on a lot of spiritual retreats, spiritual paths. And I try to stay away from anything that has a lot of dogma around it, or anything that says, my religion is better than yours.
Or is the full truth, and you just need to follow this one?
Yeah, I mean, those are fine. They're just not for me. And
sure.
Yeah, so I got on a strong spiritual path, and it made so much of a difference to me that I was able to see how my ego, how I had gotten lost. And I was a good guy, but I wasn't always functioning in the most respectful manner.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Uh-huh.
and it disappointed me. And when I realized, wait a minute, what part I'm doing this, what part of me is disappointed? Like,
Mm.
what the heck is that? So, and who is that? And then that helped me to go, oh, wait, there's something behind the curtain. Wait, wait
I
a
see. I
minute.
understand. Yeah.
There's
All
the
right.
ego. And the ego said, there's nothing behind the curtain. No, no, there's nothing else there. And it's like, no, wait a minute. Yes, it is. I just found you.
Uh,
Uh, so
that's
I
funny.
don't, yeah. So the ego is a great servant, but it's a horrible master. So
Mm,
I work to domesticate that as best I can. And it's a day-to-day effort, you
work.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that the story and that sharing, and you make it sound really easily, but actually, I'm sure wasn't that easy to face that ego.
Brutal, brutal.
So I was wondering, I don't know if it was that the case. So what was your biggest self-realization moment, would you say, in your life about this, Jeff?
I was really trying to get a real deep lesson around what is just unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a lot of retreats, and the people around me seemed to be getting it, and I couldn't. And I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be free of the total grip of the mind and the ego. And I just had a moment, one night at a retreat in the mountains of Virginia, and I just had a moment where I was so frustrated with not getting it, and so frustrated with how my ego had taken my life. I was just so furious that it literally felt like part of my head was being ripped off. And it was just like, I have had it. I mean, I just remember yelling, I have had it. I can't find my way out of this. I want out of it. I was so desperate. And there's a phrase called the gift of desperation,
The
that you
gift of
have to go
desperation.
in. Gift of desperation, when you have a bad habit, or you're doing something that doesn't work for you, or you have an addiction and you don't want to be in it, but it's still tolerable. But when you get to a point where you are so desperate to change your life and it feels like it's just the end, that's when the breakthrough happens. And if you can stay in that pain and not run away from it, and just keep in it and keep pushing, and because there's something better, you don't know what it is and you don't know when it is, but
Mm.
you just got to keep pursuing that. And I had a breakthrough that night, and it really significantly shifted everything. It was a shift in consciousness, and it wasn't a permanent shift. Like it was a permanent shift, but I still have egotistical days, etc. But it was when the balance of power got shifted from being owned by my ego and the negativism, or the I'm really great, or I really need to be great, or I'm really bad. And to the
Uh-huh.
degree to
This
the degree you have to think
self-criticism,
you're
yeah.
great is how insecure you are. But yeah,
All
and
right, great.
the spiritual path is not a path for sissies. The path to consciousness is not a path for sissies. It is hard work. And it's not all let's hug one another and kumbaya and woo woo. If you're really serious about doing it, it's the most important work you'll do in your life. But as you do it, not only does your life improve, but the lives around you improve
Mm-hmm.
as well,
Mm-hmm.
because you
Mm-hmm.
become a different person, sending a different level of consciousness
Energy,
into the
yeah.
world. They feel that. Just like if I'm being a jerk and I'm angry and etc. Everybody's
It's
feeling that.
contagious. It's very contagious,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
actually an energy field that goes out and
Uh-huh.
affects other people's energy fields.
All right, definitely, definitely. I totally agree with that. Great. And what was the main changes that you experienced after this self-realization spiritual experience, Jeff?
I saw I I saw that I saw more of who I truly was, which
Okay.
was, I'm somebody who has a big heart. I'm an empath. I have a lot of compassion. I'm a Reiki master. I really look to, I've done some energy healing. And basically, the work that I do is I'm a healer, and I do my work in organizations, because organizations are some of the toxic, or some pretty toxic places. 70% of people that go to work aren't engaged in work. Why? Because they really don't like the environment. So businesses are kind of sick, and that a lot of that's because of the models that we've been trained on how to do it. Efficiency, command and control, top down type stuff. When human beings aren't designed to thrive in an environment like that. Companies can thrive in those structures, but humans can't. We are tribal creatures. We survive and thrive best in a tribal environment where there's collaboration, there's communication, there's sharing, there's respect for one another. We've gotten so far away from the power of Mother Nature that we don't have to look out for one another to be able to survive. We can be selfish. And we have become selfish in many ways. So our organizations reflect that. So the new model, and it's work I've done for the last 17 years, is defining and designing what those new models are so that we can bring more humanity into organizations and still you actually get a higher level of accountability from people, because they're now in an organization that they respect. They're in a tribe that they respect, and they want to keep healthy. And they know if if the tribe is healthy, they are healthy. If the company is healthy, they are healthy. So I bring that type of thinking into organizations from a cultural standpoint. And then I help their leaders to develop the skills to be able to lead in that new way, instead of, take that hill, command and control, go, go, go. The leaders
Do
in
it and
today's
not
world.
question it.
Yeah, well, the leaders in today's world have to be expert communicators, collaborators, and facilitators.
Totally. Yeah, and coaches,
Because,
yes. The kind of
yeah,
facilitator, right? Yeah,
yeah,
goes into
yeah.
that. Great. Thank you so much. We go very well to the point I wanted to go finally. So you are an expert on these organizational changes and cultures, and also in the leadership part. And how do you, or what are the main lessons learned that you could share with us, Jeff, about these leadership mindsets, models, and methods that you work with that are very effective or that has given you the best results so far?
Well, the first thing is you have to have a major shift in mindset to
Hmm.
where you value the human capital of your organization more than your
Okay,
financial capital.
love that.
Financial capital is important, but if you don't get the human capital side of it right, you're not going to have the performance that you need. You're not going to have the production that you need, and performance and production equals profits.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
all you're after is profits, and that's what you're chasing. You'll actually do damage to your workforce trying to pressure them to get you more profits, and that works against itself. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you create a healthy organization, that you treat people fairly,
Hmm.
uh, that you seek their input. There's a collective genius in every organization that knows more about the organization than any one individual would ever know, even the owner, because the owner's sitting up in a crow's nest, and the people in the boiler room are the ones that know exactly what's happening. So you really need to be able to engage them in conversation. So when you engage the people and you tap into that collective genius and their wisdom and their creativity, and help them, or invite them to help you build your company,
Hmm.
they'll take a sense of ownership and a sense of pride in that, and then they'll look to protect that. And they have a sense that we are winning. You know,
Hmm.
everybody wants to be a part of a tribe. Well, everybody is part of a tribe. It's in our DNA, and we want to be a successful tribe, and we get personally attached to them. Think of a sports team. You don't play the sport, but you have your favorite team, and you're a member of that tribe. You're not out there, but you're a member of that tribe. And
Uh-huh.
we so personalize it. We don't say they won or they lost. We say we won or we
Wow.
lost.
That's right. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
That's how tight this is. So you want to take that
Mindset.
understand,
Yeah.
and you want to
Definitely.
build that within your organization. So you want to build that tribal pride. And the
Uh-huh.
only way you can do that is by breaking down the false barriers between the people in the front office and the people on the front lines. Get that barrier out of there. There has to be a little bit of it there. But as far as communication and participation and making decisions and that type of stuff, there's a lot more that can be a lot more collaboration that can happen at that level.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there are decisions that have to come from the top down, but to the degree that you can get decisions made collaboratively, I tell my clients, if you're going to change someone's department, you're going to change their job, bring them into that conversation early. Don't
Mm.
just do it. Bring them in and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and this is why. And why would you hide that? And while we're thinking about doing it, we're going to make some shifts. What's your input? What's your opinion? How do you think that this could work? I give a survey to some of my clients' employees, and it's real
Mm-hmm.
simple. The first question is you ask them, list 2 or 3 things that if you could do more of in your job would make you more productive and happier. The next question is list 2 or 3 things if you didn't have to do in your job would make you more productive and happier. And list 2 or 3 things that you think overall is negatively holding this company back. If you have the courage to invite some of your people to take that survey, you will be blown away by what you see.
Yeah,
Some
right.
of it's
Because the employees are the ones who knows really what's going wrong,
yep.
right, and what is going bad because they are the deliverers or the producers of the work. I love those questions. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's simple but powerful.
Simple
For
but powerful. And I'll tell you, I've seen entire departments reorganize themselves around those questions.
Sure, sure. I have no doubt about that. Great. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to check or kind of a summary of. Let me see if I understood it well. All right. So it's having more kind of a decentralized and less hierarchy kind of
Mhm.
communication barriers, right? And be more open for collaboration and transparency, basically, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of the main point. Would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a should do, it's a gotta do. And the
Yeah.
reason it's a gotta do is because the industrial age is behind us.
Mm,
Today's world, because of technology and the level of consciousness of the modern worker, has created a completely different business environment.
mm,
So the hierarchies and the structures are too slow. They're too dumb because they're too bureaucratic. It funnels all the thinking just up to a couple people. The people aren't dumb, but the design is dumb. Uh, and it's just not able to withstand the challenges, the complexity, and the speed of the new environment.
mm-hmm.
So when you think about the power of a network, like there's a reason computer networks are so powerful, right? Because
Yeah.
they take the capability of one computer, they tie it into a bunch of others, and there's all this shared type stuff. I do a training around this where it's around designing networks as knowledge or designing teams as knowledge networks. Now, I designed
Mm,
computer networks for 20 years. And I realized that the same 4 fundamental principles you need to design a computer network, if applied to a team, develop really powerful, high performing teams every time, as long as you manage them right.
all right.
And
Great.
it's really powerful. So we're in a networked age. So our
Definitely.
leadership models have to be network managers and
Mm,
leaders. Our organizations have to not be silos, but they have to be designed as communication networks. You
mm,
still have, you still have departments, you still have positions because you need that form, but you need the org chart to be a form, not what the actual design. It's not how you engage that company. You
mhm.
engage it as tribe. You engage it as a network. You speak to people who can contribute, not just to people that are in the department.
Mm.
I read a statistic the other day that Business Week did a survey, and they said that 87% of the executives that they surveyed said that they felt as though silos in organizations were damaging to the organizations.
Mm.
93% wished they weren't there. So listen to that, right? You've got
That's crazy, yeah. Hmm.
You've got 90% of executives, these are all like top executives, saying these silos are horrible. So you think, well, why are they still doing them? The reason they're still doing them is because hardly anybody has come up with a new model to shift. You can't just stop doing something without doing something else.
Yeah,
And
and that's what they know what to do, and what they have been
right,
doing all the time. So if
and
someone from
not
outside
only
doesn't come and show them another model, then it's hard for them, right? Thank you so much for sharing that. And now, because we have few minutes left, Jeff, I want to go, which is I think going well in line with what we have been talking about, the models and the methods. Yeah. So which are like the two next steps after the mindset that you work on.
Yeah, the mindset is all about conscious leadership. And I wrote a book called Developing the Conscious Leadership
Uh-huh.
Mindset for the 21st Century. If you just go into Amazon, Google Jeff Deckman, do a search, it'll pop up.
I
The
will put
next
it.
thing,
I will put it in the notes. Yes.
yeah, the next thing is you need a new model. And that model is move away from the org chart is the primary model. And behind the org chart, there are three things that drive all performance and production: tribal dynamics, knowledge networks, and cultures. So that's the new model, that as people are shifting away from the silos, you go in and you design your organization around that. And I do a lot of training around that. And then the last thing is a method, which is a leadership system and method that's designed to activate that network and to get the people in it, get their collective genius flowing, and release it, identify it, uh, use it, get them to be involved in solving problems and solutions, and make them part of your brain trust. It's not just about the manpower you want their mind power too. People are smart, they're creative, they know how to find out ways to solve problems, do things easier. Tap into them. And the leadership methods are a system that helps you actually lead in that new way. So all of
Mhm.
my work is designed to get out of that command and control into this whole network environment by a new network mindset, a new network model, and new network methods. Because we're in a
Uh-huh.
network world. And if you don't make that switch, you're
Yeah.
going to get
Totally agree.
crushed.
Yeah, it's the collaborative part, and I love this collective genius thing to tap into that because there is a lot of potential actually that is being missing because of people not letting them open their mouth or speak up
Mhm.
their truth and how they see things because yeah, it's like this African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, you go together, right? So I
You know,
believe in that.
Gallup says that 70% of the people are not engaged in their work, and it costs just American companies alone $500 billion a year in lost profits,
Mm,
because that human capital is what makes your financial capital. And if people
definitely.
aren't engaged, you're not getting that money, and you don't even know you're losing it, because it's
Mm.
not like it came in and then you spent it unwisely. It never came in, so you don't know that you're missing it.
It's the potential, yeah, the the cost of opportunity loss, right? Opportunity loss that is
Yep.
there, that is not aware. They are not conscious about that. Yeah, totally.
As entrepreneurs, it's what we don't know that takes us out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what.
Uh, yeah. I like this, and I just the last minute that we have, thank you so much for sharing all this valuable information. I love the interview, by the way, Jeff. Uh, yeah, what is or what will be the last impactful message that will you leave to entrepreneurs and startups to have this change of business mindset?
Entrepreneurs were naturally kind of lone wolves. So support yourself, respect yourself, honor yourself as being someone who is willing to take big risks in life.
Hmm.
Uh, with that being said, don't be foolish and think you can do it alone. Collaborate, uh, engage people, invite people's opinions, look to tap into the collective genius, uh, involve and include people and reward them for their involvement and inclusion. And you do that, you get people that want to work with you, they'll work for you, and you will profit from that, both personally and professionally.
Hmm. Hmm. Totally. All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Respect everybody who can help you, and even those who
Uh-huh.
can't.
Yes.
Just
Thank
don't
you so
hire.
much. Thank you so much. And I highly value this time and this sharing. So thank you so much. I don't know if you have any other last message that you would like to leave, or we can call it off for now, Jeff.
Yeah, just as for the entrepreneurs out there, thank you for your service.
Uh-huh.
It's
Thank
it's
you.
it's men and women like you that really keep economies going and build futures. Entrepreneurs build futures for themselves and others fortunate enough to work with them. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very beautiful. Thank you for that. And thank you for your service as well, Jeff.
No,
Thanks a
my
lot.
pleasure.
All right. So we finished. Thank you so much. It was a